Windows still there, do you? I've been watching it at the Windows
Yeah,
Steel.
I haven't done it on the new Oath of... I mean, I literally have only had one episode of Oath of Steel since then. Friends, welcome back. It's been a while since the last episode. This is Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader Tide of Iron Season 2 Episode 8 Imbroglio. I am your complex and excitable storyteller, but not for this show. APGamingREAL, some have described me as mysterious and eloquent. We're in a post-Christmas state. My war on Christmas has now resumed, as it should be. You can see I cut my hair. And you may know I've been worried about cutting my hair lately because I feel like I've been getting more gray in my hair. And now that I cut my hair, it's bad. There's more than I realized. I'm getting the Obama, I'm getting the George W. Bush, I'm getting the Bill Clinton. You know, you just live through one presidency of hell and you just gray out of nowhere. That's all you need. I'm not even president of the United States. That's how bad it is.
Instead of those 4 years, it's 8.
I remember having color in my hair back when I was still a ginger.
Really, James? I would not have guessed.
No, it was more in the beard than in the top of the head. Only in light.
You pulled off with dignity. I hope to pull off your level of dignity, even the slightest.
How's it going, Blue? Good to see you again, huh?
So, yeah. That's why I've only got two colors in the Australian. So I'm a white and red. I go straight from like moon tan to sunburn. I don't tan.
I originally had planned out a short intro for this, even though I promised not to do extended ones anymore. I had like a 10-second one. Don't worry, we'll come back to it. I just want to say I got to play with Jesse Cox and Mega Moika and Krendor and a lot of other streamers today in a game of Among Us for about 4 hours, and it was fucking incredible. It's the best game of Among Us I've ever played. I honestly don't think I'm gonna match it again. I think I should just never play Among Us at this point. That's it. I'm turning my badge.
Do you get to release your own version of the video, or what's the deal?
You know, I started recording early, and then I was like, I just want to concentrate on winning rather than narrating what's happening for the viewership. And as soon as that happened, my win rate just spiked. Like when I wasn't concentrating on making the video, when I stopped recording, I just started being like, oh, I'm observing everything now. The numbers are everywhere. The colors, I can match them all.
I can see the code.
Yeah. Once I stopped trying to do task victories and started following people around and checking places for obvious bodies, my win rate just went through the roof. You know, here's the shitty intro. Get ready for it. You know, this year, I had one objective, and that was to entice audience members to get at least one cosplay of an APGamingREAL show character. And that happened. We had a Rapier cosplay. And Glimo also cosplayed as his own character several times. So now next year, my goal is on this show to have Big Spoon 1 week when he's away. We just replace him with Glimo. And we don't say anything. We play the entire episode with Glimo as Adrian, and we never acknowledge it once in the fiction.
But aren't you acknowledging it right now?
But it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, that's the point. You've told people that it's happening.
I'm giving you the objective. This is a thing that I want. And the thing is, I'm obviously lying. Clearly, we're never going to do this. But the idea of it is funny just in the conception of it. You know, speaking of things that are funny, let's talk to Grimdark James, who didn't insult me at all, despite promising to do so in our Wednesday episode.
Only funny in conception, I'm going to say.
Wow. Incredible.
So I got to quickly warn you guys as well. You probably can't see it on stream, but those of you on Zoom can see that my door is open because I am sole parenting today. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's me, 2 Xboxes, and an iPad are looking after my children.
So you're good then. You're fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's more comes out if there's any wet pants or hungry children or someone punching somebody else. I'm the last line of defense. So
don't worry, we'll cover for you. We've done. We've lived through BattleTech with Rat. We know how this works.
That's it. Also, it's been a really hard game to plan for today because, I have an NPC that's ready to do a lot of exposition, and we could probably sit here for 4 hours asking this NPC questions, but it's really a question of how long it takes before Nero shoots the NPC.
Yeah, I know. What if I promise that? What if I promise that I'm just going to be chill today and not shoot anybody?
I don't
I-
believe it.
Zero
You maybe,
people.
but
I
Nero's
give
a
it-
different story.
I give it about 20 minutes.
You don't even
into
have a
the-
watch on. That's the most insulting part.
The real question is, how long
okay,
is it
they're already
going to
dead.
be until this lady insults Pierre? Pierre gets upset and has Nero shoot the lady.
Listen, if Pierre orders me to do it, my hands are tied, you know.
Of course.
Wouldn't it be untied?
I mean, sure, however you want to call it.
I mean, currently
I like
we're
to
tying your hands to
imagine-
not shoot her, and then I unlock the key, releasing you to
Am
do
I
damage.
really responsible for my actions when I've been ordered by my superior officer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
100%.
I also like the idea that you've got a muzzle around your face, and you know, the ceremonial removing of the muzzle is
The Nero muzzle is like a kind of like a, I won't say like a cast. It's tied to his trigger finger, and is always pulled back until you take a knife.
his
to
finger's
unloose it.
always like sticking out of the gun
Yeah.
at a perpendicular angle.
And then you have
Parallel
that
to the
moment
trigger.
where Pierre like clicks the button to let it go, and like, you know, like the bolts pop off of it, and there's like, you know, a bunch of like smoke, and it drops from the finger, and he just unloads.
You know how people like crack all their knuckles by doing this? Nero just cracks that one finger like several times because it's in the reverse state. It's just like, I'm ready. Or just the actual force of him having it release is enough to pull the trigger. You know,
It's
like-
incredible. There's so many Nero memes now.
Like, I mean, look, I know what it's like, though. I've been working with firearms long enough that when I pick up a Nerf gun, I still put my finger outside the trigger guard until I'm ready to shoot. You know,
Oh my God, please, James. Oh, I hate when I play a video game or I watch a video and somebody's got their finger in the trigger guard and I'm just like, oh, it's so much worse when I'm at the range and I see somebody and they're next to me and I'm like, I have a lot of stuff on this table, but I'm going to move 2 tables down. You a motherfucker.
You know, the only thing that pisses me off in video games is when you do the reload and there's a bullet in the chamber, but then they cock the gun again. Like,
Well,
I'm
that's
not
the
a
nice
gun
part
guy.
about Cyberpunk 2077. When you reload, if you've got one in the chamber, it'll do a faster reload for reasons that don't really make sense to me, but okay, let's roll with it.
There are also
If you
there's
count your
So
bullets,
when you go from 10 in the magazine to 11 in the magazine because you reloaded with one left in.
You have to. That's CS:GO, man. Like, people watch me use the Bison and they were like, why are you reloading? Your gun is 2/3 full. And I'm like, ooh, you never want to not have a full gun. You know what I mean? And they're like, are you an idiot? And I'm like, ooh, come on, full gun?
So in the defense, I got to say that the way I was always trained, whenever you pick up a firearm in an actual combat situation, the first thing you do is rack the action, even if you expend a shell doing that, because you don't know whether it's loaded, you don't know whether it's even chambered until you've done that. And I think that a lot of people would probably have a muscle memory around, if the battery's forward and you load it, you rack the
that's
action.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
And if they were chipped, they might literally do that too, right? Like if
I mean, when I was learning to shoot with using speed loaders on revolvers for security purposes, there was we got given a story out of the US apparently. I don't know where exactly, but around police training where they had to put the speed loaders in a bin behind the shooting position when they were loading at the range, rather than just dropping on the ground. And apparently there was a case where someone who was actually in an actual gunfight, when they loaded, they got up and started walking and looking around for a bin to go and put the speed loader into, so it didn't just drop it on the ground, because the range master was anal about it, where they learned to shoot for every day for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's such a minor thing. Like, I guess speed loaders aren't cheap necessarily.
Well, it's more to the case that he was so like stressed in combat that he defaulted to his training so hard that he put himself in danger. Like, that's incredible. Yeah,
it's the human physical condition for you at the end of the day. So options shorten when you're in that situation. Anyway, I've been good. Enjoyed Cyberpunk on the week. I've been playing more Cyberpunk since then. Had Christmas Day since then, obviously. Despite being in my 40s, I still got mostly toys. So I got some Lego. Got Pandemic Legacy finally to play that. got lots of chocolate.
Hell yeah, that's a good one, man.
Yeah,
that's it. So we had a pretty so Sydney's still in like a mini lockdown right now because we had like 60 odd cases over the past week. And this morning, my wife made me take my two of my kids to get swabbed because they both had coughs yesterday. So now the house is on a hard lockdown until we get our results. But that's
You're
okay
like, I'll just stay in my gaming room. You guys stay over there.
That's right. Yeah. Social distance. I'll be over here with the PC. You can be over there with the Xbox, and we won't talk to each other. That's it. Other than the fact I've been teaching my 9-year-old how to paint. So he's finished his first model. He's painted his first Blood Angel. He's happy with it. And then we went to the Warhammer store and picked up his Crusader card for painting his first mini. But that's been the majority of my life, really. And and I've been I engaged last night in like a 4-hour Excel exercise of analyzing probability on Star Wars, the old Star Wars dice. So.
Oh well, I know why you're doing that, but that's that's
Excel.
Wow, that has to be incredibly complicated mathematics, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So to work out whether you're better off with more greens or yellow or more upgrade to more yellows, depending on what your difficulty situation is.
It feels like upgrading to a yellow is almost always going to be the superior choice.
No, in most cases, adding an additional green. It depends on whether you're going for more successes or just the presence of a success.
Want the presence of the possibility of a crit, really.
Yeah.
That's a changer.
Here's the thing that changed the game for me. It's adding in those extra blues as much as you can.
Oh yeah, just fistfuls of blues and blacks. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But you remember though that blues only bring in. There's only a 1 in 3 chance that a blue will add a success. It's more likely to add advantage.
Right.
Yeah,
yes, and that's the good part. Having lots of advantage or not disadvantage or threat is what makes the game great.
Yeah. I mean, shooting a gun, for example, can always have a blue dice if you have an upgrade. Shit like that. It's like those small little things that just add consistency to a dice roll in that game is important. At least that's how I found it to be.
Look, I can't name the game system, but when I was working on an RPG system some time ago, I ended up building an Excel spreadsheet that would effectively, you could simulate 10,000 combats. So whatever system they were using for wounds, for health, for armor, for damage from weapons, we could pump that into the system, into this Excel sheet, and then hit F9 to refresh. And it would go through 10,000 sample battles randomly and determine whether the players won, the NPCs won, what the win-loss ratio was like. And so we could tweak the combat system that way. I like that sort of statistical operation in Excel. I get into the macro side quite a bit with Excel. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
But yeah.
You got anything else
Doesn't
going
sound
on?
fun though. No, that's all.
I have one final set 2077 comment.
Yep.
I am impressed with how fast the game loads, even on an SSD.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't even think about it because it's that fast.
So I am playing on a non-SSD. So I have an SSD for my OS, but I don't install programs on the SSD.
You and me are the exact same fucking person. I swear.
I have a Barracuda drive, so it's still like a 7200 RPM drive.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have noticed is since I've got about almost 60 hours in the game now.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not playing the game now, my hard drive has got a lot noisier. So the game has chugged the crap out of my hard drive. Thankfully, like all my actual operational files are in the cloud. But I think that the game has been a punishment on my hard drive.
How fast would you say it loads?
Oh, I mean, I've got no problem. And it's a funny thing though, like with loading up from like the main menu, I can literally have it happen in like 3 seconds, or I can have it take 20 seconds to load it. It really varies.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to my SSD. It's really not that bad when you compare it to other similar games, I think.
I want to put it on my laptop, because my laptop's got dual M2s.
Mm-hmm.
So M2 for the OS and M2 for the game.
I will say that the latest patch has actually made it like loading like a quick load, for example. It takes a lot longer than it used to for whatever reason. So I'm not sure what they're doing in order to make sure that save files don't get fucked, but it doesn't seem like it was as efficient as what it was previously. But hey, if my save file doesn't get corrupted, I'm all for it.
Can I say my only complaint with the patching is that I actually liked the previous version of the BD like starter effect when it first switches on. I wish you could have an option, like an epileptic option to turn.
Yeah,
back to
but
the
it
mode.
was causing.
I
They were going to get
100%
sued.
it was, yeah. But I'm as someone who is not epileptic or doesn't experience
I
epileptic
understand.
seizures, I liked that sort of that starter effect, and I wish it was something you could turn back on by selection in the game.
Wait
menu.
for-
Like, have it off by default, but be able to turn it on.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a
Wait
mod.
for the mods.
Yeah.
The mods are gonna come in. Like the things. Here's the top mods that are gonna come in.
Let me see that
Mod
dog
number
mod.
one? No. Mod number one is being able.
It's just going to be Thog Sock, but modified to say dog.
So imagine
Dave?
the biggest mod right now will be, for whatever reason, your junk folder containing like food that never gets used, and being able to just like auto sell that shit or auto
Especially alcohol.
assemble that shit. Oh my god, holy shit!
Okay,
It actually makes
what was the
weight.
first mod for Baldur's Gate? Was romance anybody as any gender? That'll be one of the things that happens really, really early for Cyberpunk.
I
Someone
thought you
will mod
could
it
have,
so
well,
that-
I guess I haven't hit any romances yet, but I kind of thought that already existed.
No, you need to be male V or female V, depending on the.
Yeah.
At first, people thought it was you have to be a nomad to get this one, but it's as long as you're male or female.
yeah, for the main romances, there's a heterosexual and a homosexual option for each gender, and that's it. Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
the other one the second mod that'll come in is like all those adult brain dances that you can't use for
Right.
whatever reason.
Incompatible with your hardware.
Yeah, that'll be the first mod that gets made 100%. Also, the lack of adult content in this game is kind of unnerving. It's like they made a huge deal about it, but there's only like 2 like scenes that you can get, or 3, I don't know, depending on like your choices, but there's like 2 of them. So it's like it's yeah, there's not a lot.
Can I make
And
one
then-
quick PSA, by the way? Since I love the mission so much, but it's apparently a lot of people get this bug. If you ever find yourself in the game looking at a creepy cow and can't work out how to proceed, press X, because the prompt is missing on the screen.
This is the dairy farm mission then?
Yeah, if
You've mentioned it so much, I'm looking forward to it.
If you're stuck at a cow and don't know what to do, push X.
If you're stuck in a cow?
At a cow, if you're stuck at a cow. You'll know it when you come to it. A creepy cow.
Also, let me ask you this, James. There's one mission in the first area, which is like the open world one. It's like a skull. It's up the top. I looted the box, but it's still sitting there, and it's pissing me off. Like it doesn't complete because I looted the box for whatever reason, and there's nothing in there.
I haven't experienced that at all. I mean, I've cleared everything in the Watson, like all the districts of Watson.
Yeah,
including
I've cleared everything
all
except for
the
this.
side, including all like the police, call ups and the random muggings, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just this one icon that's stuck on my map, and I go there and it says, "Hey, you have to loot this box," and I'm like, I've looted it." Like, I don't know. I wish there was like some sort of way to just auto fix it or something, or cheat or whatever. But then
I have a problem where I can never loot bots. Any bot or drone.
Yeah, I've got that
can't
too.
loot it. Yeah.
No,
I've
you
run
can.
into it.
I only can do I can't do the common ones, but anything above common I can loot. Like,
Yeah.
All right.
I think you have to get like an upgrade for it or something. I don't
Sorry,
know.
with rabbit hole.
I know.
Oh,
Undecided
you're
on
rabbit hole.
2077.
You know, Dave,
Yeah, it's like-
how about your intro?
Speaking of adult content,
Yeah.
Ooh, that was,
hey everyone.
Damn, that was a good one.
I'm coming for your job, AP.
Yeah, write it
It's
down.
not that difficult to take.
So I've had a stroke of good luck, gentlemen. I really have. Like, we released Pieces of My Heart out of early access onto Steam. We're doing exceptionally well in terms of sales. Like every day is super consistent. It's blowing my mind actually how consistent this is. And the reviews are just consistently coming in like hyper positive. We had one guy come in and make a negative review. He was like, literally, he played for 15 hours and he's like, yeah, it's not my vibe. And I'm like, motherfucker, are you kidding me right now? But that's what the review said. And I'm like, I'm tempted to proposition Steam and be like, hey, look, this is the most bullshit review I've ever seen. Remove it, please. But yeah, no, we're doing super good. We have a bundle on itch right now with 18 other games that's just surpassed $10,000, which is insane for an itch bundle. Like yeah, absolutely insane. Man, I don't know. Like I've been having some real good shit happen to me lately. Yeah, Christmas was pretty uneventful. I will say that much. You know, got a nice bonus from work, and you know, treated the family to nice stuff to eat and drink over Christmas, and you know, it's just been a really good time. I guess. Like I've had no complaints whatsoever. You know. But you know, in terms of stuff that I got going on right now, I mean, I'm taking a break for the first time in ever, and it's hard to not just go back and do work. But you know, I feel the urge to do it, but you know, I'm holding back at least until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll start working again.
I have a cool follow up to your good news. Just moments ago, I hit 2,500 subs on YouTube.
Woohoo,
and I'm
man!
2 away on Twitch.
Hell yeah! From 2,500.
Yep. A D- lister like me. That's big news. You got anything else, Dave?
I mean, not really. I would. James, did you get your Oculus yet?
No, 31st.
He said
so
31st,
yeah, 4 days for me. Yeah, I've got the tracking information for it now. So, and they sent me a thing to create my account and everything as well, so it's ready to play straight away. So
yeah, I would look into modding stuff for that if you want. Like I don't know. Have you decided if you're going with Steam VR or going with the Oculus Store?
Well, you can do both. I was doing my research, but apparently I need something called an Oculus Link to actually connect it to the PC, which is a separate... It
comes with a cable.
Does it? Because they have a separate price for it on their website. So
yeah, so the cable that you get is USB-C to USB-C.
Yeah.
So if you want to connect, you need USB-C to USB normal 2.0.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I can send you a link for like a super cheap one that everyone uses. That's like 5 meters long.
Yeah, because the official one's actually fiber optic in the middle of the cable as well, so it's they're much faster.
Yeah, but this one's just as good. If you want to do like Steam VR, like off Steam, you can use a program called Virtual Desktop.
Yeah,
it's a little complicated to set up.
Apparently, do it via Wi-Fi that way as well. I was reading.
Yeah, so. It works really well. Well, stuff like Beat Saber, there's a huge difference between doing it via Wi-Fi. Like it depends on your Wi-Fi. Like if you have really good Wi-Fi in your home, it'll be easy.
Yeah, I'm not going to Beat Saber because I don't live alone. I don't want to have to explain it to my family when they walk in and be doing that.
Yeah, that's really funny because I'm scheduled to play Beat Saber tomorrow. It does look weird to just be like, yeah.
Here's the thing, my wife hates video games, but she fucking loves Beat Saber.
Everybody loves Beat Saber, man.
Yeah, you know what my wife's favorite game is right now? She spent 5 hours this week on Dr. Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Look, man,
up,
respect.
down, left, right, A and B. That's the height of her gaming prowess.
Hey, listen, it is a tough game.
I remember Yoshi's Cookie. That was my fucking Tetris Mario knockoff game that I played, where you had to build like cookies and shit for Yoshi. It was a weird one. It was a Game Boy game. I don't know. But yeah, no, definitely check that shit out. I don't know what games I would recommend at this point, I guess, because outside of Beat Saber, I haven't found myself playing a lot of Oculus.
I'll probably
stuff
give Half-Life Alex because a lot of people raved about how good that was.
Which one?
Yep, that's a good one.
Half-Life Alex. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, listen, I should really play it at some point. I got like 5 or 6 hours in, and I was like, "Oh, this game is incredible! It's so fucking good!" And then like I put my bench up, and I put my controllers away, and I just never got it back out. But man, it was really great juggling in that game. I was like, oh my god, I'm juggling. I'm better at juggling in this game. And oh shit, the gun just went off.
Another really good one was Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. That one. I've played that one. That one's actually really
I'll
good.
probably give the Warhammer game a go for Sister Battle. I think it's got average 4-star reviews, which is actually pretty good, especially given that
it's out.
It's out. 8th of December came out. The top-rated review on their app store said, "In the grim darkness of the far future, there's only meh." but there was still a 4-star review. So.
Wow, that's harsh.
I had no idea it even came out. That's how.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's only on Oculus Store, right? Like.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's exclusive to Oculus Store.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up because I was like the one thing I will say about the VR games, like the games that do the like whole manual gun operation, that shit is fun. Like when a game does that. So if a game like just simplifies it, it's not as interesting to me. So I hope they do like good like gun mechanics for it at least anyway.
Okay.
So.
You need like Boneworks.
No, I got really fucking sick from Boneworks, like really sick. So, yeah, like I don't know. I mean, motion sickness is a huge problem for me though. So I don't know if you'll have the same problem, but yeah, just it was the act of falling off of something in the game that made me super queasy.
So when I was in California last year and I visited Silicon Valley, we went to like one of the sort of the Oculus event station sort of things where they talked about the technology and we got to have a play, and they had some game there that was like just flying around a Blade Runner style AV in a cyberpunk city, but it was like flying a helicopter, so it had pitch, roll, and yaw. And of course, your head movement was the pilot's head rather than the vehicle control. You know, the vehicle control. And everybody that played it got sick, except me. I seem to be okay with barreling and looping in this sort of AV car without getting sick.
I was going to say, now that I thought about it, if you like VR and you have a little bit of spaceflight, Elite Dangerous in VR. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder, but it is a lot of fun, and you can see behind you, which you can't do in keyboard and mouse. So,
have you tried VR yet on Squadrons, Arthur?
I have.
But you have to use a controller with it. Like you have to use like an actual like.
You can use the keyboard, but it is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, okay.
I like it insofar as I like Squadrons and will probably never play it competitively ever again.
Okay.
I'm either really bad or the rest of the people still playing are really good. One of these is true. Possibly both.
I will say that No Man's Sky was really good VR. Like, I had a lot of fun with that one.
Oh, we've wandered so far away. Dave, do you have any other intro?
Nah, not really. I mean, I'm
let's jump
excited.
over to someone with a really short intro. Pondo.
I can give short. Hi, I'm Pondo.
No, I mean, if you don't have a short one, please tell us everything you've got. But
I don't really have, because I'm like the only one amongst us that doesn't have
2077. Yes, I know.
And I like Cyberpunk, but I've haven't really done much.
If you're not gonna buy it yet, give it maybe a little bit longer.
Are you waiting for it to go special or for it to not have as many bugs?
I don't care about bugs. I've played Bethesda games on launch. That's
true. Yeah,
it's not an issue.
Crazy, man.
That's it.
Some of these bugs are worse than anything Bethesda could have had.
Did you watch the Cyberpunk show this week, Pondo?
No, I need to get caught up. So that's
because there was a nod to Skyrim in that show. So
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I need to get caught up on that. And another thing I've been doing, I finished a couple of models, and I've got some set up to be primed later on and whatnot. That's about it. The Primaris Ancient, fuck the banner. All right, that's all I got to say.
But at least you painted it separately. Yeah, that you chose well.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine painting that together. I looked at it. I was like, no. Yeah, no, I actually kind of like, despite how much a pain in the ass the banner was. I actually liked how it came out because I eventually just did a base coat of what is it called? I actually used the Citadel paint for it. 1588, which I think is a
XV88.
Yeah, XV88. Well,
yeah,
that's what
you read like that. It's supposed to be like it's one of the Tau battlesuit codes.
Yeah. So And then I just went over with Agrex Earthshade, which I think it gave like a nice kind of leathery look, which I actually kind of like. It was a pain in the ass. I hated every second of it, but I'm glad it's done. And now I'm going to work on a squad of intercessors to get that done.
That's Primaris?
Yeah. It's from the Dark Imperium box set.
Are they Primaris Ultramarine intercessors?
No.
I care slightly less now, but just slightly.
Yeah. Hey, when I got my son to start learning, he wanted to paint Blood Angels, and we bought the Learn to Paint box. I didn't realize that the actual models had molded Ultramarine symbols on the shoulders.
They do?
So I had to actually sand the Ultramarine symbol off so we could paint them as Blood Angels.
Oh, boy. No, I decided just to go with my own color scheme, which...
Pink and green.
Like
Red, white, and
yeah.
blue with the American flag stars, all 50 of them on each shoulder, painstakingly painted.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a
Brown
thing
and silver.
early this year where somebody's like they had these downloadable sheets you could get from the Games Workshop website with like just a black and white line art of a Primaris Marine, and you could color it in to plan your paint scheme basically. And like one of the designer's daughters, like 5-year-old daughter, got her hands on one and just colored it in this like complete mishmash of pinks and whites and light greens, everything there. And so he actually went and painted up a model matching her design exactly. So it became a whole thing on Twitter with parents getting their like preschool children to color in a Marine and then paint it to the best of their ability in that paint scheme.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got a bunch of Vallejo colors that ended up being, I think it was like Luftwaffe gray, and then Basalt gray. It's not zooming in, but yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool looking.
What chapter is this?
It's not really any chapter. It's going to be pretty much my own.
It's chapter Kick-Ass, so you know.
Yeah. What are they
from the
called,
Kick-Ass
Pondo?
Legion.
I don't know yet. I haven't come up with a name.
All right. So
That's
challenge for the audience: name Pondo's chapter.
There you go.
there you go.
Yeah, there'll be some great stuff on YouTube, I'm sure, shortly.
Don't do this, James. You know, you said I'll
Don't
be
engage with the
disappointed.
audience.
Yes.
Don't engage with the audience.
No,
really.
it's not don't engage with the audience. You're like a puppet master who controls the YouTube comments. You said I'll be disappointed if the first YouTube comment isn't click, and the first YouTube comment was click.
Yeah,
Now you're
I
like,
check.
now name Pondos. You are engaging the audience at a level I can't match, but more importantly, you're making them dance to your strings.
It's just step one in my plan. That's all.
What was the name of Kenneth Cross's mercenary unit? Now I need to remember because that's the name of the
Grimdark Puppet Master.
I don't think you named the. I don't recall you ever naming that mercenary unit.
That's true. Oh,
I think it was just known as the Kenneth Cross mercenary unit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a canon name at some point. Someone is someone is taking the list of the first company from the Kenneth Cross company I made for Eric's Blood Dragon game, and that includes a Goliath, and they're gonna make that actual unit, which deeply pains me because that unit was horrible. It was really bad.
Kenneth Cross and the Blood Dragon. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so in MechWarrior Blood Dragon, Eric asked make a mercenary unit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make one based around Kenneth Cross.
Okay,
and their top mech is a Goliath, so they're gonna get their ass
give it some quad mech love.
All right, that's true. You know what? I could fight 2 people at once by shooting my one weapon forward and then mule kicking backwards. I have to maximize my engagement range.
Fire your PPC and LRM 10s.
PP.
I would pick a quad mech if the Solaris Night Sync kicks off and I'm on the show. I'd pick a quad mech.
You want all of Grimdark James's money? I see.
Yeah, that's it. That was my. I wasn't sure what because I've had zero engagement with Solaris Knights for a while, so it's been pretty busy. But originally, like if there was going to be a chance to sort of like play up the investors more, I was going to have the investor that only invested in quad mechs.
You definitely can do that.
Yeah.
People have chosen specific mechs. Like one person was like, I am buying a urban mech, and whoever promises to use it in the arena shall receive it. Some people have latched on to gladiators. Anyway, that's a show for another time. Ponda, you got anything else going on?
No, that's about it for me. That's been kind of my past couple weeks.
Okay. Big Spoon, what do you got?
Christmas happened. I got to video call with my folks who are down in Georgia because I wisely decided not to travel. So yeah, that was the highlight of the week was Christmas, man. So I'm just ready to go. I think.
How many socks did you get?
I didn't get any socks, but I got this hoodie and a bunch of shirts and some new pants. So updated the wardrobe a little bit, but
nice.
Now that I'm older, Christmas has become less about like, getting a game system or whatever, because I just go out and buy those myself.
Yeah, apparently I'm the worst person to buy something for because I make enough money where I have a disposable income where if I want something, I generally
welcome
just
to my
buy
life.
it. So.
Yeah.
Wow, listen to all these first world problems people up here.
Oh, that's why I'm super happy with whatever people generally give me,
For me, people are like, here's an Amazon gift card. And I was like, how thoughtful. You've really nailed the wide array of products I can purchase on Amazon.
I said this on Discord I guess in a different group that you guys aren't a part of. But
Kinky Fridays, huh?
Yeah. But basically I said, am I that much of a fucking white guy that everyone just looks at me and goes, I gotta get him whiskey? Because apparently that's the thing people get for me. I got this fucking liter bottle of whiskey now.
I've never drunk in my entire life, and yet on a Secret Santa at work one year, I got a hip flask. So I'm like, they did their research really well, obviously.
I mean, you can put water or orange juice in there, and look, don't be a hater.
Ooh,
okay?
Wow! I might get a hip flask for orange juice. That's a really good idea.
Like, think about it. Like, everyone's just like,
about it. I'm thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
They're just like, man, look at this dude. He has a hard life, and you're just over there being like, Pope.
Yeah, OJ.
You can get pulled over having an open container in your car, and it's like, no, it's just orange juice, officer.
Is that a screwdriver? No. 100%.
Nope, it's just
pure
the
Florida
OJ.
orange juice. Yeah. Zombie orange juice. It's gray until they added the orange food coloring.
Oh man!
If you don't think that's
don't
true,
tell me that. Don't tell me that.
Look up zombie orange juice, boy. I'm gonna ruin your life.
I had years ago, I was doing some work with Australian Customs, and we found what looked like diamonds concealed inside the spine of a book. And we challenged, we sent a letter to the people that were supposed to receive it saying, could you please explain why we found diamonds in the spine of this book? And they said, they're not diamonds, they're just cubic zirconias. Their street value is like $1. So we took them to a jeweler, and the jeweler says, yep, they're cubic zirconias. Street value about $1. So obviously that they were looking to see what methods would get through, but there was no actual crime was committed. So
yeah. That's interesting.
What else you got going on? I got that nice zombie orange juice.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's many articles in the community about it. Go look it up. It'll ruin orange
I don't
juice
want
for
it.
you
Which fucking
forever.
community is this?
Yeah,
Which fucking community?
some OJ community. He's got subreddits.
OJ Realist?
Yeah.
That's a completely different community.
Oh man. Yeah. I know I'm gonna go watch that later and be like, I guess I'm just never gonna drink OJ again.
It will ruin orange juice for you forever. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather eat a sweet lie, or would you sup from the cup of the truth?
Oh man. In this case, I'll take
Would
the
you
lie.
shatter the glass?
Then don't view the video. Don't let your curiosity lie. Strangle that cat.
It's too late. It's too late.
let's admit it. When it comes to the Matrix, we're all Cypher. None of us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Put me back in there. Give me the
Blonde,
juicy steak.
redhead, brunette.
Yeah. Yep.
Are we ready to get this thing started?
Yep.
I think so.
Well, we're almost on time. James,
Yeah, cyberpunk, huh?
James, you're in command of our introductions here. Why don't
That's
you
it.
go ahead and do your thing?
Previously on Rogue Trader, the Tide of Iron, we see the manifold of the Tide of Iron itself is returned to the sacred machine by the crew. A meeting is held with the High Fabricator, during which Pierre's mysterious pocket note is finally discussed. Nero receives a coded message from Inquisitor Shrain calling him into service. Adrian meets with an old shipmate and learns of the loss of his former vessel. And finally, arriving on Quaddus, the group heads to meet with the enigmatic information broker known as the Spider Bride. Thought for the day: the truth is terrible to bear. See, I managed to work it into the intro as well.
Yeah, Jesus.
My manipulations continue. So I believe that when we left off, you had entered the pavilion tent of the Spider Bride and had seen, many nobles lounging around on throw cushions, smoking from hookahs, or being catered to by attractive nubile servant women. And the Spider Bride sat at the far end of the sort of T-shaped tent upon a pile of cushions and has beckoned you forward. That everyone else
Can we get a description of her, by the way? Because
he sent a picture of her actually in the chat.
in the cast chat, not the. So she was a very Geiger-esque picture in the cast chat. Not a long way up.
Yeah, I'm into it. That looks fun.
Yeah,
I learned a lot about Henley that day.
I don't know. It looks like a woman. What do you want from me, man?
Less tubes.
And
This is your problem?
The entire body is a series of tubes, Arthur.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. It's a pretty accurate description, to be honest.
Look at this man, not into tubes. What are you into then, Arthur?
Arthur is a broken man.
It's been a pretty good day. What can I say? All right, James, I'll tell you what's happening. Cade is going to stay behind us, but just close enough that he keeps us all in a shitty warp bubble.
Yep.
So we all feel kind of grouchy.
The nearest normal.
I don't want her reading our minds. It's not. That's actually a good strategy.
No, you're fine.
So let me ask you a quick question about how you deploy Cade, okay? Because Cade obviously has a bubble that blocks out warp phenomena in
Correct.
its
He's
usage.
also carrying a missile
Backpack
launcher.
Cade.
So, for example, if you're in the
It's not
bubble,
my baby Yoda.
if you're in the bubble, but the psyker is not, they can't read your mind because the power can't penetrate into the bubble.
Correct.
But for example, they could technically throw a car at you in the bubble.
Listen, that's a problem we're gonna have to deal with if it comes up.
So I'm just curious as to whether or not you normally try to include the psyker themselves, if they are a psyker, in the bubble.
For this meeting, no.
Okay.
I will take it as it comes in this case. I don't want Cade front and center because I don't want him drawing attention. I want him to be kind of like a sort of knight or squire position behind us, but close enough that our minds are free of entanglement from weird warpy shit.
So no Cade baby carrier?
That's correct. I also want Cade within throwing the missile launcher to me distance. So
Okay. R2D2
I feel like we need to get an ogre.
he throws it 60 feet in the air, and I just raise my hand and catch it as it comes down.
I feel like we need to get an ogre now and have him like a Cade backpack baby carrier sort of deal.
True.
It's Master Blaster.
Yeah, it would be difficult to deploy him in most corridors, but it would be very interesting. And he'd be angry all the time because he'd be around Cade.
Yeah, look, really big things throwing really small things is a Warhammer staple. So
That's true.
It is.
tree men throwing goblins, or ogres throwing goblins, or tree men throwing halflings is a big part of Blood Bowl. So
Yes.
anyway, assuming you're approaching, the Spider Bride shares a number of significant NPC glances with the other female attendants, and you get the impression this is more than just a knowing glance. Like there's some sort of communication taking place, and all of the other attendants suddenly start finding reasons why the people they're hosting should, it's like, oh, it's a lovely day outside, maybe we should go and finish outside, and they start sort of moving everybody else
I understand. We've arrived at the saloon, and all of a sudden it's emptying out for the coming gunfight.
The piano stopped playing straight away.
Oh, yeah. With one last poorly tuned Western note. Please continue, Jay. We just made this Westworld instead of Warhammer World.
So, by the time you get to her, the tent has cleared out, and she sort of bows her head. My Lord Harlock, welcome to my demesne. Please, would you like a seat? And they're sort of like, it's like cushions on the floor pretty much. There aren't really, I suppose there are seats over near like the tables with hookahs, but unless you go and get a seat.
You're right, James. It is really hard to keep from killing her immediately. You were right.
You invest in that, invest in a special set of gloves that holds the trigger finger out until I press the button that gives the go ahead to start shooting.
I would just use the other hand. I have ambidextrous.
Then you're gonna get it in both hands.
I also have those gloves that allow me to use arm-mounted weapons.
But the bad news is that the heavy bolt is ambidextrous, so if you use it with your left hand, you can get a face full of bolt.
You're going to get soda can sized shells hitting your face.
That's okay. I'll just wear my heavy armor. Listen, I'm left eye, right arm dominant, so I'm already used to getting a face full of shells when I forget to use my left hand.
That's me too.
Oh God, I need to get a different receiver one day. Anyway, so she addressed you as Harlock and invited you to step forward out of the bubble and sit on some pillows.
Everyone can sit on the pillows. It's like there's enough room for like a little.
Nero does not sit. He is not going to get caught literally flat-footed.
I mean, Pierre sits. He'll sit down as uncomfortably as possible. But it's as comfortably as possibly can, but it's probably still uncomfortable because it's just cushion.
Exactly.
So it makes it like really awkward.
Wow, Pondo. Never been to a Moroccan restaurant, apparently.
No, I haven't.
My God, I would just want to listen. I need to fly up there and drag you to one.
Actually, I don't know if you would sit because you don't know what kind of sins have been enacted on these cushions, so you're probably not going to sit.
What sins?
He knows what planet this is. He's not going to trust it. I'll stand. Don't mind me.
So, how may I serve you today?
I'm wondering how you know I'm a Harlock.
Well, information is my business.
It's fair. Then do you know why I come here?
I suspect that you are following your sister, who's passed through here some years prior. It was after her visit I looked into her family and discovered that she wasn't the only child of Erasmus Harlock.
How did you get this information as far as me?
I have a number of connections, including to some powerful forces within the Imperium. I understand you already work with the Inquisition, so I'm sure that you understand that while they pride themselves on their own secrecy, sometimes even they leak.
This is where Pierre just thinks back to Pittergas, who leaks like a flowing river.
And Shrane, yeah.
And Shrane.
They literally are just like, there's a secret inquisitorial fortress on the moon. And later on, I was like, guys, we should visit that secret inquisitorial fortress on the moon.
Their arrogance do get in the way of their secrecy sometimes, so I can understand. May I ask, did you speak with my sister when she was here some odd years ago?
Yes. So I have served the Harlocks for my entire life, and so just as I served her, I now serve you. She's been missing now for many years, ever since she traveled to Mara.
I'm guessing you haven't heard any sort of signs of her being around.
I don't fully understand what is on Mara. I've heard of this thing called the Blind Tesseract, but I have not been able to find out what it is or why it is that after her second visit there, she never returned.
Interesting. What did she come here for?
She came here looking for a talisman, one of 3 special ingredients required to unlock this tesseract. A talisman which she found here.
Where was this talisman originally at? In the tower, I'm guessing?
In the Hall of Clocks. It was the not the keystone one. Yeah, it was a key in a grandfather clock. The pendulum part. You know, I think it's a keystone. Such the keystone of the grand clock.
Did she ever discuss any other intentions or business she had?
So when she first arrived, I wasn't aware at the time that she was a scion of Harlock. So our transaction at the time was largely a fiscal one around my work as an information broker. I only discovered when she returned shortly after the incident at Gabriel Chase that she was in fact a scion of my master, and therefore my master as well. After she left here was when I began to research her family line and learn more about your existence. In fact, I suspect that the Inquisition originally had planned to use you to reactivate the Harlock line, but Providence placed your sister in that path earlier than expected.
So she learned about the line before she was told about it.
She apparently learned about it on Solomon.
Interesting.
So I assume that you are. So am I correct that you are following her?
Yes, I'm following a bread trail, essentially.
So then you will need the 3 items to find where she went on Mara, I assume.
Yes, but I imagine it'd be difficult to get them when she, already got them.
Well, the thing is that each item is not exclusive. Perhaps I should explain.
Yes, please.
So you need 3 things: a guide, a pattern, and a talisman. I'll explain the pattern first. During the days of the Harlock line, going back to the original Solomon Harlock and all the way through to Erasmus and others, the family kept a cipher system that was exchanged through psalters. And in actuality, all of the navigational notes that the family kept were hidden inside these psalm books that were passed through members of the family and down through generations. So finding one of the psalters of the Harlock line will provide you the pattern that you need to understand the Harlock cipher. The second part is the guide, because even though there are secrets hidden in these psalters, they are disguised they are effectively disguised as navigational information, which is then disguised as imperial psalms. So in order to fully understand it, you require somebody trained in the way that the Harlock family navigated the warp. They've always been served by House Nostromo. So a House Nostromo navigator would be able to help you make sense of the pattern within the Psalter. The third thing you require is a talisman, an object of power created by Harlock that allowed him to activate the various devices he created. So Harlock, or Erasmus himself, was obsessed with mechanics and clockworks. He created many objects imbued with power, but there was always an element of each piece of clockwork that held the centerpiece of power. So in the case of the great clock here on Quadus, it was the keystone. But if you can locate another clockwork work of Harlock and determine what part of that can be extracted to be a talisman, that would tick that particular box.
Okay.
I can provide you with some starting points for these things if you wish. Once again, as I said, my business is information, so I am here to serve and help you.
Yes, the talisman sounds like it'd be a trickier thing to find, unless if by chance I went looking for it, I'd find it through some sort of weird connection deal. But I don't think I have that.
Well, speaking of the talisman, so I was aware of two such devices. The first, obviously, was the Great Clock here. The second was a divination device known as the Gilded Widow, which was on Solomon. But the rumors that reached my table was that it was either destroyed or lost. It may still be on the planet, but I don't think it's readily accessible. Other than that, I am aware that Harlock maintained a property on Sanophia Magna, which has a merchant district or a museum and merchant district famous for its clockworks. It's possible that something of Harlock's may have ended up there. Although I should also note that every clockwork that Harlock created is inherently dangerous because, as I said, they stored not just potential, but power. As it stands, your return to the city has awoken what was originally defeated by your sister here many years ago.
Defeated?
A demonic entity was bound into the Great Clock, and after the keystone was removed, it was unbound, and your sister was able to destroy it. However, nothing of the warp is ever truly destroyed. Remained dormant in the warp, and I believe that since you arrived in the system a day or so ago, that this entity has become active again. We've seen killings in the city that are reminiscent of its past activities.
Interesting.
Although I serve you and not the other way around, I would hope that you would find the time while you're here to set this matter straight, as I fear that if you leave and this entity remains at large until the dark season, that Quadus may not recover from what happens during that time.
This is a side quest where you need to get to the... Please take care of this or everybody's going to die. Very well, I do have an expert at vanquishing beings of the warp here.
Nero turns to look at Don.
Dawn just looks impressive as always.
You smile, and there's like a ching off your teeth.
3 little anime
that's-
shines come over her head, shaped like diamonds.
It's Cade holding up like a special like prop light.
No, he's got
It
like
stands
one
right
of
by-
those things used to reflect sunlight off of car hoods.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's in the distance you hear a Hajish light as A light beam hits me perfectly. I was like,
Oh, is Wally here too?
and I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. Oh my god. Fifth Element. Ugh.
Oh, you're right. That has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
AP,
I have so many
there's
questions
one thing
to
we're going to
ask.
ask her. I forgot about it.
I started with 7 and now I'm up to 9. I don't know if you want to be here while this happens, because I will point out I don't just have Intimidate, I also have Interrogate, which is not pleasant. And I learned from Shrain, who was not pleasant.
So, what was the name of it? Not the autarch, the place. I can't remember.
Talon Balewing? You're looking...
do you mean
No,
Nexus
the
of
place where he's
Shadows?
at.
Yeah, the Nexus of Shadows, and I just wrote it down here. Zale Kugar rules the Nexus of Shadows of the Drukhari.
Right.
Is this about what we were talking about, Selene Morn and Talon Balewing?
Yes.
Don't worry, that's on my list.
Okay.
I mean, she said when there's like a moment where you're sort of thinking, she sort of says, I obviously, though I serve you, your allies here, if they have anything that they are seeking, I will help within the best of my ability, my Lord Harlock.
Indeed.
I would just say one thing, though, first. Not everyone appreciates the truth, but that is what I offer.
I think Nero actually starts laughing just like me.
If something untoward happens, then please return here in 5 days, and I will be back, and there'll be no hard feelings.
Should I, AP, do you want to start asking the questions that you want to ask? I think you have several.
I do, but you're the captain. If you have questions, that takes priority.
I have one question that I'm curious to know about,
Yeah,
if she has any information about.
Please go.
Okay, I just need to look up a name for this character, because it honestly, like, my brain is like mush half the time. So
You looking up Talon Balewing?
no, not Talon.
Blade Morn, Sagar Cool.
No. What was the name of the sister?
Oh, the sister who's secretly evil back on the other planet?
No, not her. The
Miriam?
one that used Miriam. Yeah. So actually, I step forward, or Dawn steps forward, and says, "There was a sister that served on the Hand of Calixis, and goes by the name of Sister Miriam of the Abbey of the Dawn."
Yes, that's the name she goes by now.
Mhm. She had her memory purged, and it's important to me personally as to the reasons why they were purged.
So once again, let me just be clear, by the way, as well, that although I'm very old and very intelligent and very well connected, I'm not omniscient. So I can't.
I'm not expecting miracles. There are only a couple people in this entire realm that can do miracles.
Yes. Sister Miriam served the Inquisition, as you'd be aware, and she was required to interpret certain information for her Lord Inquisitor at the time regarding a demonic entity that you may know of, known as the Marionette. In the process, she uncovered a conspiracy, well, information, so to speak, and a conspiracy to cover it up. Information that released could destroy this entire sector. Information that I would never sell myself, despite knowing it. And I would caution you against learning it, because it is knowledge that once given can only be wiped from your mind or taken by the embrace of the grave, as Miriam has learned.
You seem unaffected by the gravity of the information that you have. Is there a reason for this?
Like I said, I'm very old.
And age has allowed you to shrug off the effects of knowledge such as this?
I have first-hand knowledge of the incident.
Can I make like a awareness or scrutiny
Insight
roll
check.
to like just like first, is this person like human, and are like how old are they?
Okay, so you can give me I'll take scrutiny plus 10 or Medicaid plus 10.
Okay.
Oh, scrutiny thing I'm actually good at. Oh, you go at it.
So she looks
Check her Tinder profile and it's right there. It was easy.
in modern standards, she looks to be in her mid-30s. And you know, so you're used to seeing certainly like over time people acquire things like scars, etc. You know, like the signs of having lived.
Mm-hmm.
She's remarkably unblemished. But when she talks, like she's not lying when she says she's very old, and when she's implying she has first-hand knowledge of an incident, you know, the impression you get is that it's something that is hundreds of years old. But by the same token, you can't spot any rejuvenate scars either, signs that she's had treatment.
And she did say that if anything untoward happens to
She
her,
would come back.
to come back
in
okay.
5 days.
I'm just making sure I didn't mishear that.
Nope, you heard it
nice.
correctly.
Okay.
Is this information that you'd be willing to share with me? As I said, it is important to me
That's how we
personally.
ended up in a boss fight with Dawn.
I will share it with you if Lord Harlock tells me to.
Turn to the captain.
I understand, please, sister, that out of all the people here, you or perhaps Nero are the ones likely to take this information the worst.
Oh.
Nero's just like turns slowly and says, "Do not presume to speak for me."
I could see Nero taking it worse than I.
Then perhaps you can tell me.
That's how we ended up in a
Dawn
boss fight
does
with Pierre.
the castle gif, you know, the one that's just like,
Though if Dawn wishes to know, she can know. But
If Dawn truly wishes to damn her eternal soul, I can't stop her.
I mean, it's the whole reason why she brought me in the first place, if you remember.
Yeah.
Right? She was like, "Oh yeah, I did recommend you. Why?" So, you know, I'm very curious as to why.
So she's looking, expecting like, okay, I'll tell you, and but it's you need to decide who's going to be in the room to hear this, because you know.
I'll leave it to Dawn because she wants to know.
But so you're asking Nero or Cade or Adrian to leave, or we
Write
just
it down.
Oh, if
write it down?
The page catches
That-
fire as she
yeah, I
writes
was say
it.
that might be more dangerous than just saying it.
Captain, I would like for you to be here, but I'm not sure of the rest.
I'm uncomfortable with leaving the two of you without Cade.
I do
I think
not
we'll
think
be all right.
Cade
If
will
you're
be of
going
use.
to,
Yeah, I think that out of all of you, he will be the least affected by this revelation.
Don't presume to speak for Cade either. Come
I
along,
don't
Cade.
think-
You and I are going to go outside and stare angrily at rich people.
All right, so you step outside with Cade. What about Adrian? Are you going?
man, yeah, I think Cade, Adrian goes with Cade and Nero.
Okay. So, very well. The warp entity, now known as the Marionette, has been present in this sector for a long time. You've heard of the crusade of Lord Angevin, Lord Solar Angevin, and St. Drusus. the two generals that conquered the Calixis sector in the first place. So for your benefit, by the way, so out of character, whenever the Imperium expands into a new sector, the usual process is rogue traders go in first, try and find worlds, convert the systems as such. This is what's happening with the Koronus Expanse right now. Then what will happen is a crusade force will be sent in to actually conquer any outlying resistance to actually establish imperial worlds. And the crusade force is led by a Lord Solar, which is like the highest military position possible in the Imperium. Literally, they're only created as like temporary positions for a crusade. And Lord Solar Angevin was the general who led the total pacification of the Calixis sector from when it was just an expanse to being a sector. Drusus was his second in command. And during the Angevin Crusade, Angevin died and Drusus took over. Like he was never promoted to the rank of Lord Solar, but effectively he took over as general. And most of the worlds in the Imperium that were pacified by Drusus's hands, to the point that after his death he was beatified, and he is the most revered saint within the Calixis sector here, and is regarded as an imperial saint back on Terra as well. So that's what she's calling her attention to. I served alongside Drusus, and I can tell you that he was not the pious man that the texts relate. In fact, his ability to conquer this expanse or this sector was only possible after he struck a deal with the marionette. So the knowledge that Miriam came across was that a sainted member of the Imperium, a figure of the ecclesiarchy, was in fact a heretic who trafficked with demons and has stained the soul of this whole sector.
That's all got to burn.
So this is like, yeah. So first off, if she's just saying this, Dave, this is like arch heresy, like, you know, to accuse an imperial saint of being a heretic, you know, is yes, it's such horror heresy. If it's true, and this information got out, you know, it could destroy this sector from the point of view that, you know, like everyone reveres Drusus. Like Drusus is the saint that most people like pray to before they eat dinner every night. You know, there are whole worlds devoted to, like, there is literally a world which is just a shrine around where he's been buried. You know, it would, you know, destroy the ecclesiarchy of this sector for that information to be, if it was got out and was proven to be the case.
And this place would just be purged and now reestablished.
I have a follow-up question, if you don't mind me asking. She says, please, with a sour fucking look on her face, mind you, it's just like, you knew of this and you did nothing. Why? Because personal greed? What did you stand to gain from this? Apparently everything. Look at where you sit.
I didn't support Drusus in this, and for that reason I experienced my first death. But my master helped me overcome that, and since then I served him. And although, if he believed that a strong foundation built upon a lie is a foundation nonetheless, and no reason to tear the entire building down when the lie itself causes no further harm.
So,
except millions revering a saint that is not a saint, you mean?
They revere an idea. The idea itself is pure. The demon gets no power from their reverence.
Donald just, like, you know, cross her arms and just sort of stares like.
So you mentioned your first death, and you've also mentioned the fact that something would happen here. You'd come back in 5 days. How?
Yes. I don't fully understand it myself, except to say that there are some people who just don't stay dead.
I know what this is.
Yeah, me too.
Out of character. I know what this is.
That's surprising. That's a shock.
I don't know that there would be no way of knowing in character, but
No.
was
Perpetuals,
what it was
Perpetuals.
yeah,
Perpetuals.
perpetuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vulcan was one and it pissed off Night Lord. I can't remember his name.
Corvax,
Corvax, yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. That's interesting. Is it a common occurrence that you get killed and you come back?
I try to avoid it. It's a relatively large inconvenience, but not an insurmountable one.
I can imagine. I mean, being dead in general sounds like an inconvenience. Actually, just I'm more so baffled by this fact that this possibility.
I mean, while I'd prefer not to, if you need proof, it's relatively easy to obtain.
No, that's not necessary. I'd rather not test that myself.
Would you feel more? Would you like to call your other friends in? Your other
yes.
servants in?
Yes, it's that information.
All right.
Very interesting information that you gave.
All right, so presumably someone comes and gets Nero and Adrian and Cade.
Nero comes in with Cade and he goes, now that's the difference between nasty and bad. One of them is good and one of them is bad, and you're going to have to figure out which, and they switch every few years, Cade.
So you can probably it wouldn't take a scrutiny roll to identify that Dawn's not looking very happy.
Yeah, she's she wasn't exactly like, you know, a calm, like her demeanor has changed significantly since she joined the crew. She went from being like, you know, wonder-filled to, you know, scarred and like an aggressive stance. But this is like if the aggressive face ate like several warheads at the same time and was just like, you know, she's literally eating the inside of her cheek right now, basically. And the anime leather sound, oh yeah, that's constant. The hand squeezing sound, you know, like, yeah.
I think Adrian like looks from Dawn to Pierre and like rests his hands on his bolt pistol. Like, are we gonna shoot this lady now or what?
There's no point. Don't worry about that.
She will continue to exist regardless of what we do here.
Nero's just nodding with an incredibly cruel smile and says, coming back to life, that's a new trick. I bet eternal suffering is so much more painful when you know that there's no escape from it.
That's why I made sure to always include an escape.
Now, children, please settle down.
Nero is literally going full 300 here. He's like, immortals, we'll put that name to the test.
Why is Leonidas Scottish?
Have you not seen his other movies?
Yeah, because he's
Scottish
that's right.
in the other movie.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, he says it with a really weird accent. That's
He
the
does.
one line he says
Well, that's
with a
just
weird...
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nero just like brushes himself off and is waiting politely for his turn to begin the threat interrogation. It's where you combine threatening people with interrogation.
Is that like you have like a desk lamp that you hook into like your power and you
I don't
point
need
it
a
at
desk
him?
lamp. I literally have a giant gun on my shoulder that can see your heat levels. And it's a laser, so don't worry. It can do the light thing too.
Are you good cop or bad cop when you think of yourself? Nero?
Oh, come on. Does that even need an answer?
I bet you think you're good cop.
What is the point of a good cop? Nero is the only cop. Have you ever
The
seen
bolter
Nero be
pistol
like,
is the good
look,
cop.
Don is the bad cop in this conversation. If you talk to me, you get the carrot. Name one situation where he hasn't been like, not only am I the stick, but I'm going to break it off and shove it up your ass.
Well, there's like, okay, here's your options: quick, painless death, or searing hot blade in the rectum. Your choice.
So yeah, Nero is just kind of waiting around. He's in his Gwent stance.
Yep.
Just constantly nodding, waiting for the Gwent to load.
Let me be clear, my Lord Harlock. That information I share with you is something I would never sell. I only shared it now because you asked me to, and I serve you.
Absolutely, that would be very, very bad if that information came out and was proved right. Incredibly bad. Awful.
So, and to answer your question more fully, then, Sister Miriam was exposed to the truth and the provable nature of it, and had to be. They needed her still, but they needed that information gone, suppressed.
I understand, though. How does this relate to me?
As to your involvement,
There's a direct correlation between her knowing this and her involving me in
yes.
other plots.
So, my understanding of the marionette is that it is a demon of the changer of ways, the keeper of fate. It is effectively the hand of fate exercising its will to steer individuals towards their predestination, or at least the destination it predefines for them. In learning more about what this demon was and what it was planning, she was exposed to more understanding of the future, at least as far as it perceived it. And I would say then that she foresaw your impact in that future, for negative, for better or for worse. I'm guessing for better if she subconsciously chose to act on that.
I see. Do you know if she had impending information about her mind wipe and that's why she involved me, or is it the opposite?
I don't know whether she was aware of that. What happened when she was taken into the walls of the Tricorn Palace, I don't know.
And just for curiosity's sake, how do we go about achieving or finding the proof that you've mentioned previously? Because right now it is your word, and
Yes.
you are simply old, apparently.
You would find the proof on Sentinel. So, for your benefit, anyone knows. So, Sentinel is the name of the world on which Drusus was buried. The shrine world upon which his mortal remains are kept.
And you're still talking about this in front of us, like we don't have any context, but we're hearing like marionette names for Zinch and Nero's like this some motherfucking heresy.
That is all I wish to ask.
Adrian, do you have anything for Nero? Some reason tries to interrogate for no reason.
I don't believe so. I think Nero. I would recommend just asking.
Yes, Nero. All you have to
Nero
do is
turns to everybody. Nero turns
Captain.
to everybody with a look on his face. It's like, obviously, I'm going to start by asking, but.
May I offer Mr. Thorne something, my lord?
Sure.
Only to say that the information that's come to my plate is that the ship you once served on, while it was destroyed, the senior crew now serve in chains aboard they have been enslaved aboard an iconoclast ship within the Iron Warriors fleet.
Do you know the name of this ship?
The Cry of Despair.
It's a metal as fuck name. Okay.
The engine is powered by the screams of men.
It's probably true.
That's
Yeah,
very
I know.
possible.
This is Warhammer, so
Scream louder. I need to go faster.
In fact, it is long hours for the men that whip the slaves. It is a very difficult job.
They just replaced it with bionic arms, so it's just, automatic.
We've made it so it's so efficient that it's now one Australian man that whips all the slaves.
I should warn you, my lord, and please, with this information, I don't want to derail your current investigations, because I understand that what you're doing is important, but I feel I should give you some foreknowledge so you know what's happening. You are aware of the 13th station, yes?
Yes.
And you know that beyond it lays a realm of the warp where the forces of chaos gather, a region known as the Screaming Vortex.
Right.
There are many Chartist captains within the Calixis sector who are aware of the location of that particular warp breach, and many of them traffic in information, goods, individuals from the Screaming Vortex into the Calixis sector and by extension further into the Imperium. This is how my information about the Chaos Fleet has come to my hand, is that word has passed through information traffickers that people that have been within the Screaming Vortex have traveled into the Calixis sector and have communicated what is happening with this Iron Warriors fleet. So just be aware that the Calixis sector is not as safe as it seems, nor is the secret of the 13th station a well-kept secret. There are many within the Imperium and the Calixis sector who will trade their loyalty for money.
Do you have names on who are the ones that know about it and have been using it for their advantage?
This is why I caution you against. I can certainly provide you with the names of ships that I'm aware of that have traveled to the Screaming Vortex, but I would only caution that you may find yourself embroiled in chasing pirates and traders rather than living up to your full potential.
It's just for a case of side quest on the edge. To do like a ship battle here and there, maybe get some little bit of profit factor, if not totally dead afterwards.
Right. She sort of momentarily stares up into the middle distance, and then sort of flicks back. One of my ladies will provide Master Bullet with a list of known traders when you leave.
Excellent.
Some nice fat merchants.
Sounds good to me.
Among other things.
all right. So Nero's popping his neck. He's flexing his new Stormtrooper best quality lathe carapace. Just trying to see how flexible he can get in it.
I was totally expecting you saying flexing his new bulging biceps.
No. But I mean the armor has to be big enough to fit his biceps. So it's like the Rock wearing Stormtrooper armor essentially. Lord Captain, I don't know if you want to be here for this.
Are you?
Look, I fully intend to keep this a nice, quiet conversation, but you never know where the answers to questions may lead. I'm sure you understand, and I may be forced to seek alternative measures.
I highly doubt. She seems to be very forthcoming with this information.
That is a huge concern to me, sir.
Do you not yourself give the Lord Captain any information he desires, Nero?
I will outline in my first few questions as to why this is a concern for me.
Has this lady seem to be like plotting anything in the midst of our talks?
Is she just laying down on a pillow and transmitting everything through mechanical tubes?
Is she doing this with her fingers? Because if she is,
no,
that's a clear indication.
She has a cat.
She's probably smoking a glow stick in a holder.
Classic.
How many Dalmatians does she have in her jacket? Is it 101?
No, it's way more than that. Look how old she is. She has to get new ones for new coats every few dozen years.
See my vest.
Come to this puppy farm I have.
All right. I mean, if no one is stopping him, Nero is just kind of warming up to ask questions. And he makes sure Cade moves with him and says, "What is your relationship?"
So, is anyone else leaving at this point in time, or
No.
You are leaving?
Okay.
I'm not.
You're not leaving. Okay, nice. Yeah.
All right. Just be
I
aware.
keep the dog on its leash.
Could get gruesome.
So she does say to you, Pierre, I'll answer any of these questions unless you tell me to stop. If that's how you would like me to proceed.
That is how I would like you to proceed. Since Nero, I don't want you doing anything that's completely unnecessary.
Nero is smiling because he knows that she'll answer any questions he has. What is your relationship to the Inquisition?
I have never served the Inquisition. I have contact with. There are some Inquisitors that have come to me in the past for information, and I have bartered information in exchange from them, but I've never actually served the Inquisition. I have been killed by Inquisitors in the past, though.
I'm sure that must have been painful. I
As I
would
said,
caution you to remember your mistakes. Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. Who is your master?
As far as I know, right at this point in time, Pierre Cowles.
At this point of time.
Unless Erasmus Harlock was to suddenly return, and even if he did, I believe that he would no longer be the master that I served. I believe that he has become either he has become corrupted by, or he has become the embodiment of the marionette. In which case, he is no longer a master I can serve.
And Evangeline?
She is the younger, so therefore, I believe that unless Pierre turns his back on the Imperium for some reason, that he still is my master above her.
So you claim to serve the Imperium?
That's what I've said.
We'll come back to that. You see why I have questions, Tom. She follows a chain of command that is unclear until this moment, and even now, who can say if she's lying?
Well, ask us something that you can already prove the truth of.
She has come to us as if she knows us. Clearly, she has bargained well to prepare herself for this situation. She certainly thinks that she knows us well. What could I ask her that she could not immediately falsify or already know the truth of?
Well, something you already know the truth of, obviously.
If I can respond?
Please.
A large part of what I so when I served in the Imperial Army, I was a tactician. I would analyze battle strategy. I would determine the appropriate application of troops and resources to great to provide the greatest chance of victory. This is a skill that I have fallen back on in my current trade after I learned something from how the Silver Skulls, for example, work, where they take probability and turn it into divination. Although they claim to rule themselves by the whims of their librarians, in reality, they simply look at all likely outcomes and apply a particularly arduous algorithm to determine likely events. So when I say that I feel that I know what your next action will be, it is based upon a combination of what I've been told from people that have observed you or have spoken to people that have observed you, combined with a mathematical analysis of likely outcomes.
You say you served in the Imperial Army.
Yes.
Which unit?
I have to look it up, but she when she rates off, you would know from your background that she's named Drusus's own regiment.
I am a Drusus fan.
Exactly.
I mean, like, the thing she's saying, though, would it, like, that unit doesn't exist anymore, right? Like, she's basically flat out saying that she's over 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
All right. You say you know nothing about the Blind Tesseract.
I know that it's a device that was created by Erasmus Harlock in an attempt to change history, and that after Erasmus entered it, he was never seen again. That Evangeline entered it once and then returned, and then later returned to it and never returned again.
Hmm. I'm going to ask you a series of questions over a wide, broad spectrum, just to wrap up some loose plot lines. Tell me what you know about the rogue trader who is secretly an inquisitor. Who is it that masquerades as one of our number?
Yes, that would be what her name is. Sarah Grimold.
Really?
Yes.
And you can confirm this. You have proof of some kind?
Would you like me to provide you with substantive proof?
I think Nero's going to turn to look at Pierre. I mean,
that'd be nice.
This is a thing the Inquisition kind of wanted, and, you know, it's good for us to know who's not one of us, who's the imposter, so we could vote them off of the Rogue Trader Council.
She once again looks into the middle distance and then responds back with another a dossier will be passed to you when you leave that should outline.
Yes, I'd like to speak with them, actually. Get a hold of him some point. Not by fact that he's imposing as a rogue trader, just in the mere fact that...
It's a woman. Sarah Grimal.
Oh, sorry. She is posing as a rogue trader, just more so the fact that we have some of the same interests.
They might be able to help us.
Indeed.
What do you know of the Esheker class Esheker ships and their current arrangement?
I know that Lord Jonquin Saul is looking to obtain all of their number, and that he will pay a princely sum for the exchequer itself. I think that he'll be sorely disappointed to discover that the ship itself is moored within the Screaming Vortex.
Of course it is.
Moored to what?
Well, it is not currently being operated, but I understand that a traitor captain operates that ship. They've not returned to the Calixis sector for years, to my knowledge.
And when you speak of the Screaming Vortex, you speak of the Maw. You speak of a portal to the warp.
The Screaming Vortex is a stable series of planets within the warp, accessible through Station 13 in the Maw. That's in the same way that the Eye of Terror provides direct access to a governed part of the warp, just on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, I'm just like, don't Eye of Terror splain me. I'm Acadian. I know how this works. What do you know of Selene Morn?
She is a Dark Eldar, former Archon, deposed in a coup and ousted from her position on their Nexus of Shadows. She has pulled together a ragtag group of individuals to try and reclaim her position. She seeks to gain control of something called the Soul Reaver.
And you know nothing more of the Soul Reaver?
Only that it's on the Nexus of Shadows.
I see. And what would you rate her chances versus Zagar Cool to be?
I don't really traffic too much in the affair of Xenos where they don't concern the Imperium. So I haven't really invested in learning more about this particular affair. My interest in her is only that she has recruited pirates and other unsavory characters to her band. I don't see any potential threat right now from that group of there are Corsair Eldar within the Koronus Expanse that are a greater threat to us.
Lord Commodore, would you find Selene Morn and Zagar Cool to be of top interest to you in the coming days? You're muted.
You're muted.
Solely because there's someone imprisoned that has caught my eye.
So it would be wise for this Spider Bride to drop you a message when she learns more, because it's such a high priority for you.
Yes.
I can actively look after anything you want me to seek. I try to avoid leaving Quaddus where possible, but
That's fine.
I still can.
If you ever receive information about any of them, please let me know. And any information you can hear about and Talron Bellwing.
Talon Bellwing. What do you know of him?
Believe he is one of the Eldar or the Eldar Exarchs or Rortarchs, some sort of leader caste. It's not been seen on the galactic sort of front for some time.
You have no further information about him?
No.
What do you know about the situation on Kolth?
The uprising by the Severan
Imperial
Dominant?
Guard, yes, and the Greenskin intervention there.
It's as far as border scuffles go, it's pretty normal. The Severan Dominant has declared themselves separate from the Imperium, and of course the Imperial Guard has been said to pacify them. Like any sort of large-scale war, it's attracted the attention of an Orc Warg, which has decided to become involved. There's no conspiracy.
What's a Warg? I'm sorry. Is that like a big ship of them? Or
No,
like,
I want you to imagine an avalanche formed of orcs.
Yeah. So orcs just don't say war; they go war, and so it sort of translates into when you write that down, you write it as WAAAAAGH. So it just means
the amount
orcs
of A's,
go to war.
the amount of orcs that are in the
Pretty much,
Warg.
Yeah. And the color that the ships are painted determines how fast they move.
But it's logarithmic. The number of A's increases logarithmically, so not a linear scale. So four A's is not twice two A's.
My God, they're not 10 power, they're 1,000 power.
At a certain point, it like collapses down like a cell, and then it just becomes a capital A, and you're like, "Oh shit, how does this work?"
And then when you see 2 capital A's, that's when you know you're in trouble.
That's
Yeah,
when
they
you know
have
you're
like the
capital
squiggly
F.
lines and the umlauts and stuff like that. Like, yeah, no, it's infinite.
So I'll give you an idea here, Dave. The orcs have 2 gods, Mork and Gork. So Mork is brutally cunning, and Gork is cunningly brutal. That's the difference in their purview.
It's the other way around.
Sorry, my mistake.
All I know about orcs is I once played in a orc game, like it was a one shot, and I rolled so good at a stealth check, I stealthed myself out of existence. Literally, I hit a 100, and then I hit a 1 back to back, and it was like, yep.
You became the barrel.
His name was Tooth Snatcher, and he basically just like, I want to go invisible, therefore I don't exist. Yeah. If I don't exist, no one can see me.
There is a concept that all orcs are inherently psychic because their belief makes things work. So with any orc weapon, it's considered to be 1 level lower in quality than for a non-orc to use. So if something would be best quality for an orc, it's good for a person. If it's poor quality for an orc, when a regular person picks it up and looks at it, it shouldn't actually function. It shouldn't be a working object, except it does work in the hands of an orc. So.
Oh, orcs are so brilliant in this world. Like, it's just,
they're so great.
It's like a breath of fresh air for this system. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what they're for.
Yeah, and they're a fungus too. So once you get orcs, they're hard to get out.
Tell me, strategist, what would you rate the battle on Koth now with your information?
I think that once you deliver the forces that you carry, the Tide of Iron and the Maccabean Janissaries, that will be enough to repel the Warg. I think that the overall battle with the Dominant will be years from being resolved. The Dominant simply has the main issue is that the majority of Dominant forces are beyond the light of the Astronomicon, and so therefore the ability for the Imperial Guard to move significant enough forces there to end the battle quickly is limited without good navigators.
Any quick tips or programmer strats you believe should be employed during our battle with the Wog?
If you plan to spell the Wog,
what's this we?
Yeah. I understand that the orc that leads this Warg is well respected among his kind. Potentially defeating him in single combat may be enough to drive them away.
Nero smiles. This is the best thing
so
he's
you're
heard all day.
saying I need to face them in man-to-man combats.
Yeah.
Nero tries not. He desperately is trying to hold in the laugh at the idea of Pierre in single combat.
Orc.
Yeah, he's just tossing pistols. Pew 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 pew.
I like the idea that he throws away an empty pistol, the orc picks it up and shoots him with it.
I would accept that death. That's I was like, you know what? Pierre's dead. Game over. It's done. Not even gonna waste a fate point on that.
What do you know of the Galen Sphere?
A Mechanicus construct, space station sized, disappeared in the Koronus Expanse a long time ago. Some sort of attempt at building like an early attempt at a Dyson sphere.
You have no knowledge of its current location.
No, but if I was looking for it, I'd be looking for where you'd find a very small star you could build an experimental Dyson sphere around.
What is the location of House Nostromo? Are they here?
They operate a base on Fenks World.
Fenks World.
Yeah, let me bring up the map and I'll tell you where Fenks World is.
Are they as loyal to the Harlock line as you are? Or will they require some measure of enticement?
Well, it depends. They are quite mad, but I think you would be able to find an ally among them.
I see. And Sinofia, this is a planet?
Sinofia Magna? Up
yes.
Here? It's already on your...
Yeah, we're headed there.
Yep.
Soon.
Just double checking, because it's called Sinofia, not Sinofia Magna. But
Sinofia is a system. Sinofia Magna is the planet.
I see. Let me add Fenks World to our long list of systems we're day tripping through. I'm thinking it's after Sade, but before Mara, given its location.
Well, I mean, you can't Mara. You can't do anything until you've got all three things anyway. So
right. Mara's at the end, but it's the question of what do you go to before there. Yeah. And I think that Sade is closer to our previous world than Fenks World. Although again, it's not like distance really matters when you're traveling through the warp.
Yep.
And you say that we will find our talisman there?
I said that the talisman should be built into any of the powerful clockwork. I mean, while you're here, if you're going to deal with the current demon situation, you can examine the clockwork clocks in the Hall of Clocks and get an idea for how Harlock's obsession with clockworks works.
But you don't believe that there will be another special clockwork piece anywhere here?
Not on. I've looked on Quaddus. Definitely not on Quaddus.
I see. So you suspect it will be on the museums of Sinofia?
That, or find the Gilded Widow on Solomon.
I see. What was the dark season you mentioned earlier?
So Quaddus is largely tide locked to the sun. However, there is a slight axial rotation where roughly every 7 sidereal months we have about 35 days of darkness and cold. Most of the nobles on planet that can afford to leave Quaddus during that time, and the remaining people that live within the city here at Zykarth hunker down for the winter. As I said, if this entity is still around then and still killing, it would be disastrous for Zykarth. The nobles will probably come back to find all of their servants killed, and this city a ghost town.
That's very unfortunate. I think that Nero like squats down, not exactly like at eye level with someone who's sitting, but he says, "It bothers me that you speak like an Eldar, talking about predestination, talking about set pass. The only predestination of humanity is the promise of the God Emperor that we will rule the stars, that this galaxy is ours. I think you should remember that next time you speak of derailing the Lord Commodore with your plots."
I think you need to better understand how I look at the
Nero
future.
just stands up while she's talking and walks away. He does. It's just like, I don't need to do that.
Nero, come back.
She's not dead, Lord Commodore. I feel like I've done.
I need your list. I need your list of people who are a threat.
All right, he gets his list out. It's really long.
Maybe we should do that after the break.
Yeah.
It's really long.
Okay, we'll be back after the break. This woman is alive, which means she got 2 hours longer than I thought she would.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
It's only because we stepped outside.
Yeah, that's true.